Hey guys, this is Levi with Gorilla Realty again, back for our Thursday live coaching that we do every Thursday at 2 p.m. We've been doing a series on specifically what do we say to internet leads. And the reason why it kind of started this whole thing, and there's two other parts to this, so feel free to look in the group. I've labeled them the series, What Do I Even Say to These People? Because we published a case study that we did a few weeks ago where we were generating leads, and anybody can do this. This isn't just our members. Anybody can do this if you have the right tools. But you can generate leads off of Zillow for free without paying Zillow the thousands of dollars. And so the next question, of course, that we got is, okay, I have leads. What do I say to the people? So we spent the first 2 weeks talking about strategies to get people on the phone, because that is the key to be able to begin a relationship. The second week we talked about the real estate buying cycle. So if you haven't watched those, I would stop this video if you're watching it not live, which is where most of the people that watch these videos watch them. If you're live, of course, feel free to continue to the end and then go back and look at them. But the videos are basically going to be kind of setting up what do we say to these people. So just as a quick recap, so it makes sense, remember when we generate online leads, they're primarily in what we call phase one of the buying cycle, or the information gathering phase, meaning they're just gathering information. They want to get as much information as possible so that when they are ready, when they get ready to actually search for a home, at that point it's game on. And so the mistake a lot of agents make on this first call is they get on the phone and they treat them like a phase two customer, someone who's already knee deep in the home search or who's ready to put their home on the market if they're a seller. And so you get very aggressive with them. And I don't necessarily mean aggressive in a bad way even, but, I'm talking about you get on, hey, how can I help you? What are you looking for? Those don't even necessarily seem like aggressive phrases, but the reality is most people feel pressured when you start, hammering them about, hey, you must be knee deep in this home search already if you're on my website. And again, the reality is they're not. In fact, their attitude when it comes to real estate agents is they don't think they need one and they don't really want to talk to one. Now, that does not mean that we don't have anything to bring to the table here. And I'll explain to you why. So part of what, and we don't do scripting per se, because most of the agents that I talk to, and certainly I'm not a trained actor, and so scripts usually sound fake coming from most people, again, unless you're a trained actor. So instead, we really focus in on kind of an outline for how the first call should go. And keep in mind, the outline that I'm about to share with you is more for customers who come through our website and come through our advertisements. So just keep that in mind. You may have to tweak it a little bit to adjust if you're doing other different types of advertising or your website's set up a little bit differently, but the main tenet should still be the same. So the first thing that I want to concentrate on when I'm calling these customers is I want to take off my sales hat for a second and I want to put on my customer service hat. And what I mean by that is these customers are really looking for information, so I want to be able to deliver them information to them without making them feel like they're getting sold. So I'm not even trying to set an appointment. I'm not trying to find out what they need in the house so I can sell it to them. All I'm trying to do is help them with information, with the problem that they're coming to me with. So on an initial call, when I get a hold of them, I'm going to approach them something like this. I'll call them up, ring, ring, hi, this is Levi, I'm with GorillaRealty.com, or insert your brokerage here. And then I'll sort of explain how I have their information. Hey, I noticed you're on my website looking at properties, and we like to give everyone a quick customer service follow-up phone call to make sure they got all the information they needed. Now, typically this disarms the customer a little bit. They don't have their wall up because, hey, this is just a customer service call. I can actually talk to this person without feeling like I'm going to get sold. And it's not just a put on. We really aren't trying to sell them. We really are trying to just help them with information initially. Okay. Okay. Of course, we know that when we help them with information and we begin this relationship, statistics are on our side because 74% of buyers and 76% of sellers go with the first agent who they come in contact with. So we're going to sort of rely on that when we build the relationship up front, that eventually this customer is going to work with me. So at that point, when I say, hey, I noticed you're on my website looking at homes, I just wanted to give you a quick customer service follow-up phone call to make sure you got all the information you needed, I stop and I just let it hang. And if you watch some of the sales movies or read the sales books, a lot of them are saying first person to talk loses. It's not so much that, but I want to give them the opportunity to talk. I want to listen a little bit and hear what it is that they think. Now, most of the time, they're going to give me some variation of, yeah, I got everything I needed, thanks. Because the reality is, if your website's set up well, then, they probably didn't have any issue finding the information they needed. Great. Every now and then you'll get someone who said, well, I was looking for X or this. And you can, of course, answer those questions. That's some good, rapport building right there. But again, most of the time I'm getting some variation of, I got everything I needed, thanks. And with those customers, I'm going to say, okay, well, great. I'm glad you had a good experience on the site. And then, typically I'll go, oh, the other reason why I called is we actually have this program where we can set you up to receive listings via email as soon as they come on the market. And the beauty of it is, a lot of times you're going to get to see them before agents even see them. The search is done for you. Is that something you might be interested in? And, when I'm talking to the customer on the phone and I offer this to them, again, it makes sense in their minds. They came to my site looking at properties. I just gave them an easier way to look for properties. And for those of you who are sort of scratching your head thinking, well, I don't know if I have that available, you do. It's through your MLS, actually. In fact, every MLS that I'm aware of offers this, where you can actually save search criteria and have it automatically email the customer. So it's not like we're utilizing some newfangled technology here. We're just offering something that every agent just about has available to them. And so the nice part is this is going to set up a lot of future follow-up phone calls for us. If or when they say, yes, let's do that. And it's, like I said, it's also a good rapport builder because I'm offering them something of value without asking, without trying to sell them anything. I'm basically saying, hey, I can set this up for you. And again, most customers at this junction, even this is buyers and sellers, are going to go, sure, that sounds okay. I don't know why not. And I'll typically respond with something like, okay, well, describe to me your dream home. And again, I'm shutting up and I'm listening because I want to hear what it is that they're wanting. Now, because these customers are oftentimes in phase one of the buying cycle, they're so early on in the cycle that they're, oftentimes don't really have a very clear picture of what they want. A lot of times I have to give them prompts. Oh, have you considered a garage? Do you want a pool or no? Do you know what neighborhood? So, as they're talking through what they want, sometimes I have to give them some prompts there, but that's okay. And so that's how we deal with our internet leads. Now, the text leads are going to be very, very similar, and this is how we generate the leads on Zillow specifically. But we're going to tweak it a little bit. Instead of saying, hey, I noticed you're on my website looking at properties, we tweak it. We just say, hey, I noticed that you, checked out on our text system information about 123 Main Street, or whatever the address of the property is. And we like to follow up with everyone just to make sure you got all the information you needed. Now, again, they got texted back, the virtual tour or whatever it was that you offered them, the photos and listing price, etc. So they probably got the information that they wanted, but that's not the point. The point is using that as an opportunity to be able to reach out to them and kind of establish that relationship. I can still make the same offer. Oh, well, hey, the other reason why I'm calling is I wanted to set you up to receive, if you're interested, we have this new program where we can set you up to receive listings via email as soon as they come on the market. Again, most customers are going to say, Sure, why not? Rather than them having to manually do the search on Zillow every other day, you can set it up so that they automatically get it. Now, you'll occasionally get a customer that says no here. I wouldn't worry about it. At the end of the day, this is going to be a numbers game for us. But a vast majority of the customers, if you present it right, are going to say, yeah, sure. Now, on the very rare occasions that you're going to get a no, or hey, why are you calling me, or oh, that was my brother, or something like that. Oh, I already have an agent. Don't let that stop you. And I'm not suggesting that you try to go behind the sign and take someone else's customer. But because we're very light hands, we're very customer service oriented, just providing information. By doing it that way, we're at worst case setting ourselves up as a great second option. So even if they are working with another agent, which quite frankly most of the time isn't even true, but even if they are working with another agent, it's not a bad thing to be the perfect second option if something falls through with that other agent. So that's what I have for you guys today. Our final installment of this will be long-term follow-up. In other words, what do I say to these customers moving on? And I already kind of foreshadowed a little bit because, like I said, that offering to set them up for the automated search will set up a lot of our future follow-up calls. But because we're taking such a light hands approach, you will probably notice at this point that, hey, we're not closing them tomorrow. In fact, the average online customer is typically 3 to 6 months out from closing. Now, I know some of you are going, yeah, all internet leads are long-term. And again, long-term is 3 to 6 months, not 3 to 6 years or 2 years or whatever other thing you may have heard. 3 to 6 months, it really isn't that long considering most escrows are 30 days or more. And, there's going to be a few weeks of sort of, showing property as well. Or in the case of a seller, it's going to be on the market for a certain amount of time. So that's all I have for you guys. Feel free to comment below if you're having trouble finding those first 2 installments of this series, and I'll be happy to tag you in those other installments so that you can make sure and watch them. Again, just comment below, say, hey, I need the other installments, part 1 and part 2. This is part 3 of what's going to be a 4-part series. So I'll see you guys back here next week, Thursday at 2 p.m. We do live training. Thanks a lot.